Pregnant and exhausted, Lydia was left in a storm with nothing but a thin blanket and a small bag of bread and water. Her family deemed her a burden and chose to abandon her in the wilderness. No shelter, no assistance, just the harsh wind and biting cold. She stumbled through the snow, ready to surrender. But then, through the blizzard, a Lakota warrior appeared, calm, composed, and observing her intently. She thought her life was ending, but destiny had another plan. Before we begin, tell us where you're watching from, and subscribe if you believe that fate always finds a way. Lydia's situation was dire. The storm raged around her, fierce winds howling through the trees. Snow fell heavily, covering everything in a thick, white blanket. She stood alone, clutching a thin blanket to her chest. Her breath came out in visible puffs, each one a reminder of how cold it was. Lydia was pregnant and alone. Her family had decided she was too much of a burden. They left her behind, abandoning her in the wilderness. Her heart ached with both physical and emotional pain. The loss of her husband had been hard, and now this. She had hoped for support from her family, but the harsh conditions made them think otherwise. They left her with few supplies, just enough for a day or two. A small bag with some bread and a bit of water. It was not enough for the days ahead that looked bleak and endless. Lydia trudged through the snow, her feet sinking with every step. Her body was weak, and her spirit felt broken. The weight of her pregnancy made each movement difficult. The wind cut through her thin clothes, chilling her to the bone. Her hands were numb, and her face stung from the icy air. She thought of her husband, who had passed away months before. His smile, his laughter, and the plans they had made together. Memories flooded her mind, bringing both comfort and sadness. His absence was a void that nothing could fill. She wished he were there, guiding her through the storm, offering warmth and strength. As she moved forward, Lydia realized she needed shelter. The storm showed no signs of stopping, and her strength was waning. She scanned the surroundings, looking for anything that could offer protection from the elements. Her eyes were tired, struggling to see through the heavy snow. After what felt like hours, she noticed an opening in the distance. A small, dark spot against the white landscape. She moved toward it, her pace slow and labored. The wind pushed against her, making each step a challenge. Her body screamed for rest, but she knew she had to keep going. Finally, she reached the opening. It was a small cave just big enough to offer some shelter. She stepped inside, grateful for the respite from the wind. The cave was cold and damp, but at least it was out of the storm. She sat down, pulling the blanket tighter around her shoulders. Inside the cave, Lydia tried to gather her thoughts. The reality of her situation was overwhelming. She was in the middle of nowhere, with little food and no one to help her. Fear gnawed at her, a constant companion in the dark. But she knew she could not give up. Her baby depended on her, and she had to find a way to survive. As the hours passed, the storm outside continued its relentless assault. Lydia huddled in the cave, trying to conserve her energy. Her mind drifted in and out of sleep, the exhaustion taking its toll. She dreamed of her husband, of their home, of better days. A sudden noise snapped her back to reality. It was faint, almost drowned out by the wind. She listened closely, her heart pounding in her chest. The noise grew louder, footsteps crunching through the snow. Panic surged through her. Was it an animal? Or maybe someone from her family coming back for her? Her eyes strained to see through the cave's entrance. A figure emerged, moving steadily through the storm. Lydia's fear turned to confusion. It was a person, not someone she recognized. The figure approached the cave, their movements careful and deliberate. As the person drew nearer, Lydia's fear returned. She was alone and vulnerable, but something in the stranger's demeanor gave her pause. They moved with purpose, but not aggression. Her instincts told her to stay and see who this was. The figure stopped at the entrance of the cave. Lydia could see now that it was a man, dressed in clothes that looked warm and sturdy. His face was partially covered, but his eyes were visible, sharp, and watchful. He stood there for a moment, assessing the situation. Lydia's heart raced. She knew she needed help, but trusting a stranger was a risk. Yet she had little choice. Her situation was desperate, and this man might be her only hope. She decided to take a chance, hoping her instincts were right. The man stepped closer, his expression calm and reassuring. Lydia felt a flicker of hope. She had been left behind, but maybe she wasn't alone after all. This stranger might be the help she so desperately needed. The thought gave her strength, a small light in the darkness of her predicament. The man spoke, his voice steady. Lydia couldn't understand his words, but the tone was gentle. He gestured toward the cave, indicating that he meant no harm. Lydia nodded, acknowledging his presence. She realized that they were both in the storm, both searching for something. The man looked around the cave, then back at Lydia. He seemed to understand her situation, the thin blanket and her condition telling a story of struggle and need. He reached into his bag, pulling out some food and offering it to her. Lydia hesitated for a moment, then accepted the offer. She was hungry, and the gesture was sincere. The food was simple, but it tasted like a feast to her weary body. As she ate, she watched the man, trying to understand who he was and why he was there. The man spoke again, pointing to himself and saying a word that sounded like his name. Lydia tried to repeat it, hoping to bridge the gap between them. He smiled, a small but significant gesture. It was a start, a fragile connection between two strangers in the storm. As the day turned to night, Lydia and the man remained in the cave. The storm continued outside, a reminder of the harsh world they faced. But inside, there was a sense of calm, a momentary peace. Lydia felt the weight of her situation lessening, if only slightly. She didn't know what the future held, but for now, she wasn't alone. The stranger's presence was a comfort, a glimmer of hope in the darkness. She rested her head against the cold cave wall, her mind drifting to thoughts of survival and the journey ahead. As sleep overtook her, Lydia knew that she had found something unexpected in the storm, a chance, however small, to find her way through the wilderness. The path was uncertain, but she had taken the first step. And that was enough for now. Lydia awoke to the soft light of dawn filtering through the cave entrance. The storm had finally calmed, leaving a quiet, snowy landscape behind. She felt stiff and cold, her body protesting as she moved. The stranger, who had found shelter with her, was already awake. He sat by the entrance, watching the world outside. As Lydia adjusted to the morning, the man turned to her, nodding in acknowledgement. His presence was reassuring, a steadying force in the uncertainty she faced. She offered a small smile in return, grateful for his company. The night had been long, but she had not been alone. Lydia knew she needed to move, to find better shelter and more food. The cave had provided a temporary refuge, but it was not a place to stay. She remembered the supplies her family had left her, a meager offering that would soon run out. Her mind was focused on survival, each thought a plan for the day ahead. The man seemed to understand her need to leave. He stood up, brushing the snow from his clothes, and gestured for her to follow. Lydia hesitated, unsure of the direction they should take. But she trusted that he knew the land better than she did. She gathered her things, ready to face the day. As they stepped out into the cold, Lydia felt the crisp air hit her face. The world was a vast, white expanse, the snow glistening under the morning sun. She shivered, pulling her blanket tighter, and began to follow the man. He moved with confidence, his steps sure and steady. The snow was deep, making their journey slow and difficult. Lydia's legs ached with each step, the weight of her pregnancy adding to her fatigue. But she pushed on, driven by the need to find safety. The man kept a careful pace, always checking to see that she could keep up. They walked in silence, the only sound the crunch of snow beneath their feet. Lydia's thoughts drifted to her family, the pain of their betrayal still fresh. She wondered if they were safe, if they thought of her at all. But dwelling on the past would not help her now. She focused on the present, on each step forward. After a while, they reached a small cluster of trees. The man paused, looking around as if deciding their next move. Lydia took the opportunity to rest, leaning against a tree for support. Her breath was heavy, her body weary from the effort. The man approached, offering her a small piece of bread. Lydia accepted it gratefully, the food a much-needed boost. As she ate, she watched him, curious about his story. He was a mystery, a stranger who had chosen to help her. She wondered where he had come from and why he was alone. When they resumed their journey, Lydia noticed a change in the landscape. The snow was less deep here, the trees offering some shelter from the wind. It was a small relief, but it made the walk a bit easier. She focused on placing one foot in front of the other, her mind set on reaching their destination. The sun rose higher, casting a warm glow over the snow. Lydia found some comfort in its light, a reminder that she was still alive, still fighting. She glanced at the man, who led the way with quiet determination. His presence was a comfort, a reminder that she was not alone in her struggle. As they continued, Lydia's mind wandered to thoughts of her unborn child. She felt a strong urge to protect it, to ensure its survival. Her hand rested on her belly, a silent promise to keep going. The journey was hard, but she had a reason to endure. The day wore on, the landscape changing subtly as they moved. Lydia's body was tired, her steps slow and deliberate. But she was determined to keep up, to prove that she could endure. The man seemed to sense her resolve, offering her a supportive nod as they walked. Eventually, they came to a halt. In front of them was a small cave, similar to the one they had left but more secure. Lydia felt a wave of relief, grateful for the chance to rest. She stepped inside, the familiar chill of the cave wrapping around her. It was not home, but it was shelter. The man followed, setting his bag down and sitting near the entrance. Lydia joined him, her body sinking to the ground. She was exhausted, but the sense of safety was a balm to her weary soul. She closed her eyes, allowing herself a moment of peace. As they sat together, Lydia felt a growing sense of trust. The man had helped her, guided her to safety. She realized that she depended on him, that his presence was a lifeline in the wilderness. She hoped that he felt the same, that their fragile alliance would hold. The silence between them was not uncomfortable. It was a shared understanding, a bond formed in adversity. Lydia found herself wanting to know more about him, about his life and his journey. But the language barrier was a challenge, a wall between their stories. The man seemed to sense her curiosity. He gestured to himself, saying his name once more. Lydia repeated it, hoping to remember. She pointed to herself, offering her name in return. It was a small exchange, but it felt significant. It was a connection, a step toward understanding. As the afternoon light faded, Lydia felt the weight of the day settle on her. She was tired, her body begging for rest. But her mind was alert, thoughts of survival and the future swirling within. She knew they would need to move again to find a more permanent solution. The man began to speak, his words slow and deliberate. Lydia listened, trying to catch any meaning. She nodded, showing she was paying attention, even if she couldn't understand everything. His tone was calm, reassuring, a promise that things would be all right. As night approached, Lydia felt a growing sense of hope. The storm had passed, and she was not alone. The path ahead was uncertain, but she had found a companion in the wilderness. Together, they would face whatever came next. The cave was dark, the outside world hidden by night. Lydia lay down, wrapping her blanket around her for warmth. Her eyes closed, her mind drifting to thoughts of tomorrow. She felt a hand gently pat her shoulder, a wordless gesture of support. With the stranger by her side, Lydia allowed herself to relax. Sleep came quickly, a welcome escape from the day's trials. She knew that the journey was far from over, but for now, she was safe. She had found a glimmer of hope in the storm, and she was determined to hold on to it. The morning light filtered into the cave, gently waking Lydia from her sleep. She stretched her tired limbs, feeling the stiffness from the previous day's journey. Her body ached, but her spirit felt a bit lighter. The presence of the stranger who had offered her help was a comfort she hadn't expected. The man was already awake, tending to a small fire he had managed to build just outside the cave. Lydia watched him, his movements careful and practiced. She appreciated the warmth the fire provided, a small luxury in their harsh environment. The man glanced up, meeting her gaze with a nod of acknowledgement. Lydia realized they needed to communicate better. The language barrier was a challenge, but she wanted to understand him and share her own story. She moved closer to the fire, feeling its warmth seep into her bones. The man offered her some food, a simple meal to start the day. As they ate, Lydia decided to try and bridge the gap between them. She gestured to herself, saying her name again, slowly and clearly. The man nodded, repeating her name with a slight smile. It was a small step, but it felt important. She then pointed to him, hoping he would share more about himself. He understood, saying his name once more, Chaitin. Lydia repeated it, wanting to remember. Chaitin nodded, pleased that she was trying to learn. Lydia wanted to know more about him, about who he was and why he was in the wilderness. She gestured around, trying to ask where he was from. Chaitin seemed to understand, pointing to himself and then to the vast landscape beyond the cave. He spoke a few words, his tone calm and reflective. Though Lydia could not understand his language fully, she sensed that he was sharing a part of his story. She listened intently, picking up on his expressions and gestures. It was clear that he had experienced loss, much like her, and that the wilderness was both his home and his refuge. Chaitin then gestured to the sky, indicating the path of the sun. Lydia understood this as a sign of their journey, the direction they would take. She nodded, showing her agreement. She trusted him to guide them, to find a safer place where they could rest and plan their next move. They spent the morning preparing to leave. Lydia packed their few belongings, mindful of the supplies they had left. Chaitin showed her how to secure their things, ensuring they could carry them easily. It was a simple lesson, but one that made her feel more capable. Before they left, Chaitin pointed to a spot in the cave where he had drawn simple pictures in the dirt. Lydia looked closely, seeing that he had sketched a rough map of the area. He pointed out landmarks, trying to explain their route. Lydia appreciated the effort, feeling a sense of partnership in their shared journey. With their preparations complete, they set out once more. The day was clear and bright, the air cold but refreshing. Lydia followed Chaitin, her steps more confident. The snow crunched beneath their feet, the sound a steady rhythm as they moved. As they walked, Lydia felt a growing sense of camaraderie with Chaitin. He had become more than just a stranger. He was a guide and a friend, someone she could rely on in the wilderness. She felt grateful for his kindness, for the silent understanding that had developed between them. The landscape was vast and open, the snow-covered ground stretching out before them. Lydia marveled at the beauty of it, even in its harshness. It was a world she had never truly appreciated before, one filled with challenges, but also with moments of awe. Chaitin led the way with ease, his knowledge of the land apparent in his every step. Lydia watched him, trying to learn from his movements. She mimicked his careful steps, finding her own rhythm in the snow. The journey was still difficult, but she felt more prepared with each passing hour. As the sun climbed higher, they took a short break. Lydia sat down, grateful for the rest. Her body was tired, but her spirit was lifted by the progress they had made. Chaitin handed her some water, a reminder to stay strong and hydrated. During the break, Lydia tried to share more about herself. She pointed to her belly, indicating her pregnancy, and then to the sky, mimicking the idea of time passing. Chaitin watched her, his expression thoughtful. He nodded, acknowledging her meaning. It was another small step toward understanding. Lydia also tried to convey her loss, the pain of losing her husband. She placed her hand over her heart, then pointed to an empty space beside her. Chaitin's eyes softened, and he nodded again, showing his empathy. It was a silent exchange, but it spoke volumes. After their rest, they continued on. The path was challenging, but Lydia felt more confident with each step. She was learning to navigate the terrain, to find her way even when the route seemed unclear. Chaitin's presence was a steadying force, a guide in the uncertainty. The day wore on, the sun beginning its descent behind the distant hills. Lydia felt the chill return, a reminder of the approaching night. Chayton led them to another small cave, a place to rest and regroup. Lydia was grateful for the shelter, the chance to find warmth and safety once more. Inside the cave, they settled in for the night. Lydia felt a sense of accomplishment, knowing they had covered a good distance. The journey was far from over, but they were making progress. She felt a growing sense of hope, a belief that they would find a place to call safe. Chayton tended to the fire, the warm glow illuminating the cave. Lydia watched him, grateful for his skills and his companionship. She knew that their bond was still fragile, but it was growing stronger with each passing day. As they sat by the fire, Lydia felt a quiet peace settle over her. The wilderness was vast and unpredictable, but she was not alone. She had found an ally in Chayton, a friend in a world that seemed so daunting. Lydia closed her eyes, feeling the warmth of the fire and the comfort of Chayton's presence. She knew that there would be more challenges ahead, but she was ready to face them. Together, they would continue their journey, bound by trust and the hope of a better tomorrow. The next morning, Lydia awoke to the gentle crackling of the fire. Chayton was already awake, tending to the flames with practiced care. The warmth was a comfort, a welcome start to the day. Lydia stretched, feeling the familiar ache in her muscles, but her spirit remained determined. She watched Chayton as he moved, his actions deliberate and efficient. His presence was a constant reassurance, a reminder that she was not alone in the vast wilderness. Lydia got up slowly, joining him by the fire. He handed her some food, and they ate together in silence, a routine that had become familiar and comforting. As they prepared to leave, Lydia felt a growing sense of purpose. The journey was not just about survival anymore. It was about finding a place where she and her unborn child could be safe. She knew the path ahead would be challenging, but she felt ready to face it. Chayton gestured toward the cave's entrance, indicating it was time to move on. Lydia nodded, gathering their few belongings. She was learning to pack more efficiently, her movements more sure and confident. It was a small victory, but one that gave her a sense of capability. They set out into the crisp morning air, the sun casting long shadows across the snow. The landscape was familiar yet ever-changing, a world of white and silence. Lydia followed Chayton, her steps more certain with each passing day. As they walked, Lydia thought about the journey so far. The days had been hard, each one a test of her strength and will. But she had learned so much from Chayton, his knowledge of the land invaluable. He had taught her how to navigate the terrain, how to find food and water, and how to recognize signs of danger. Lydia was grateful for these lessons, each one a tool for survival. She felt more capable, more prepared for whatever lay ahead. The wilderness was no longer just a place of fear. It was becoming a place of learning and growth. The day was clear and bright, the sun warming their path. Lydia felt a sense of peace as they walked, a quiet confidence in their journey. She glanced at Chayton, who led the way with steady determination. His presence was a beacon, a guide in the expansive unknown. As they traveled, Chayton began to teach Lydia more about the land. He showed her how to read the signs in the snow, the tracks of animals that had passed. Lydia listened intently, eager to learn. She was beginning to understand the language of the wilderness, the stories it told through its patterns and paths. Chayton also showed her how to find shelter, how to choose a spot that offered both protection and warmth. Lydia appreciated his guidance, each lesson a step toward independence. She was learning to see the world through his eyes, to find beauty and opportunity in the simplest of things. The journey was not without its challenges. The terrain was difficult, the snow deep and unforgiving in places. Lydia's body was tired, her steps slow and deliberate. But she pushed on, driven by the need to find safety and security. Chayton was patient, always checking to make sure Lydia could keep up. He offered her support when the path was steep, a steady hand to guide her through the rough spots. Lydia was grateful for his care, the quiet strength that he shared so willingly. As the sun began to dip toward the horizon, they found a suitable spot to rest for the night. It was a small clearing, surrounded by trees that offered some shelter from the wind. Chayton set about making a fire, his movements efficient and practiced. Lydia helped as best she could, gathering sticks and kindling. She was learning to be more useful, her confidence growing with each task completed. The fire was soon crackling, its warmth a welcome relief from the cold. As they sat by the fire, Lydia felt a sense of accomplishment. They had covered a good distance, their journey marked by progress and learning. The challenges of the day were behind them, and they could rest in the safety of the clearing. Lydia thought about the future, about the life she hoped to build for herself and her child. She knew it would not be easy, but she was determined. Each step forward was a step toward that future, a promise she made to herself and her unborn child. Chayton seemed to sense her thoughts, his gaze steady and reassuring. He spoke a few words, his tone calm and supportive. Lydia nodded, understanding his meaning even if the words were unfamiliar. It was a reminder that they were in this together, that their journey was a shared one. As night fell, the stars emerged, twinkling brightly in the clear sky. Lydia watched them, feeling a sense of connection to the world around her. The wilderness was vast and untamed, but it was also a place of beauty and possibility. Chayton pointed out a few constellations, his finger tracing patterns in the sky. Lydia followed his gestures, trying to see what he saw. It was another lesson, another glimpse into his world. She appreciated his patience, the way he shared his knowledge with her. As the fire burned low, Lydia felt a deep sense of gratitude. Gratitude for Chayton, for his kindness and guidance. Gratitude for the journey, for the challenges that had made her stronger. And gratitude for the hope of a new life, one that was filled with promise and potential. Lydia lay down, wrapping herself in her blanket. The ground was cold, but the warmth of the fire and Chayton's presence provided comfort. She closed her eyes, allowing herself to relax and drift into sleep. The journey was far from over, but Lydia knew she was not alone. Chayton was by her side, a steadfast companion in the wilderness. Together, they would continue to face the challenges ahead, bound by trust and the hope of a brighter future. The morning sun rose slowly, casting a warm glow over the snow-covered landscape. Lydia awoke, feeling the cold air on her face. The fire from the night before had died down, leaving only faint embers. She sat up, rubbing her eyes and taking in her surroundings. Chayton was already awake, tending to the campsite. Lydia was grateful for his diligence. Each day, his presence was a source of strength and reassurance. She rose to her feet, stretching her tired muscles and preparing for the day ahead. The journey was long, but she felt determined to keep moving forward. After a simple breakfast, they packed their belongings. Lydia had grown more efficient at this task, her movements confident and sure. She had learned much from Chayton, each lesson a valuable tool for survival. As they prepared to leave, Lydia noticed a change in the air. It was colder, a reminder that winter was still upon them. They set out once more, the snow crunching beneath their feet. Lydia followed Chayton, her steps steady and purposeful. The landscape was familiar, yet different with each passing day. The wilderness was vast and unpredictable, but Lydia was beginning to feel more at home within it. As they traveled, Lydia noticed a group of figures in the distance. They were huddled together, their forms outlined against the white snow. Her heart quickened, a mix of curiosity and caution filling her mind. She glanced at Chayton, who had also seen the group. He motioned for her to stay close, his expression serious. As they approached, the figures became clearer. It was a group of travelers, their clothes heavy with snow and wear. Lydia felt a pang of uncertainty. She wasn't sure how they would react to her and Chayton. Trust was not easily given in the wilderness. The travelers watched them with wary eyes, their expressions guarded. Lydia felt the tension in the air, a silent standoff between strangers. She stayed close to Chayton, her instincts telling her to be cautious. Chayton stepped forward, his body language calm and non-threatening. He greeted the group, his voice steady and respectful. Lydia watched as he communicated with them, using gestures and simple words. The travelers seemed to relax slightly, their suspicion easing. Chayton explained their situation, his tone sincere and honest. Lydia felt a sense of relief as the travelers began to warm to them. They were still cautious, but the tension had lessened. Chayton's calm demeanor had won them over, and Lydia was grateful for his presence. She knew that alone, she might not have been as successful. One of the travelers, a middle-aged man with a kind face, stepped forward. He spoke in a language Lydia didn't fully understand, but his tone was friendly. He pointed to a path in the distance, indicating a direction. Chayton nodded, showing gratitude for the information. Lydia learned that the travelers were headed to a nearby settlement, a place where they could find shelter and supplies. The thought of a settlement filled her with hope. It was a chance for safety, a place where she could rest and prepare for the arrival of her child. The travelers offered to share food with Lydia and Chayton, a gesture of goodwill. Lydia accepted gratefully, the warmth of their kindness soothing her weary spirit. As they ate, she listened to their stories, piecing together fragments of their journey. The travelers had faced many hardships, much like herself. They spoke of harsh weather, scarce food, and the constant struggle to survive. Lydia felt a kinship with them, a shared understanding of the challenges they faced. It was a reminder that she was not alone in her struggle. As they prepared to part ways, Lydia faced a decision. The travelers had invited her to join them, to travel to the settlement together. It was a tempting offer, the thought of safety and community calling to her. But she also felt a strong connection to Chayton, a bond that had grown with each day of their journey. Lydia turned to Chayton, seeking his guidance. He seemed to understand her dilemma, his expression thoughtful. He nodded toward the travelers, indicating that it was her choice to make. Lydia appreciated his trust, his willingness to let her decide. She weighed her options carefully. The settlement was an opportunity for security, a place where she could find help. But her journey with Chayton had taught her so much, and she valued his friendship deeply. They had faced many challenges together, their bond forged in trust and mutual respect. In the end, Lydia decided to continue with Chayton. The journey to the settlement would still be there, but she wanted to see where their path together would lead. She thanked the travelers for their kindness, expressing gratitude for their offer. The travelers understood her decision, offering her encouragement and well wishes. They parted ways, the travelers heading toward the settlement, while Lydia and Chayton continued on their journey. Lydia felt a sense of peace with her choice, confident in the path she had chosen. As they walked, Lydia reflected on the encounter. It had been a reminder of the kindness that still existed in the world, even in the harshest of conditions. She felt a renewed sense of hope, a belief that they would find their way through the wilderness. Chayton seemed pleased with her decision, his expression relaxed and content. Lydia felt a deep sense of gratitude for his companionship, the silent understanding that had grown between them. Together, they faced the unknown, united by their shared journey and the promise of a better future. The sun dipped lower in the sky, casting a warm glow over the snow. Lydia felt a quiet strength within her, a resolve to keep moving forward. The wilderness was vast and unpredictable, but she was not alone. With Chayton by her side, she was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Lydia and Chayton continued their journey through the wilderness, the path ahead uncertain but filled with hope. The encounter with the travelers lingered in Lydia's mind. She had felt the pull of the settlement, the promise of safety and community. But her bond with Chayton was strong, a partnership forged in adversity and trust. As they walked, Lydia's thoughts turned to her past. The memories of her family, the ones who had abandoned her, were still fresh. She wondered where they were now, if they had reached safety. A part of her longed for answers, a resolution to the pain of their betrayal. The landscape began to change, the snow giving way to patches of frozen ground. Lydia noticed familiar landmarks, a sign that they were nearing a place she once knew. Her heart quickened, a mix of anticipation and anxiety filling her chest. She glanced at Chayton, who seemed to sense her unease. As they rounded a bend, Lydia saw the outlines of a settlement in the distance. Her mind raced with memories, both good and bad. This had been a place she once called home, before everything had changed. The thought of seeing familiar faces again was both comforting and terrifying. Lydia and Chayton approached the settlement cautiously, the wooden structures standing stark against the winter sky. The place was smaller than she remembered, the harsh weather having taken its toll. People moved about, bundled in layers to ward off the cold. As they entered the settlement, Lydia felt a mix of emotions. She was hopeful, yet wary of what awaited her. Chayton stayed close, his presence a source of strength. Lydia knew that whatever happened, she was not alone. They walked through the streets, Lydia scanning the faces around her. Some people glanced their way, curiosity in their eyes. Lydia felt exposed, her past and present colliding in this familiar yet changed place. Then, she saw them. Her family, standing together near a small building. Their faces were lined with weariness, the signs of struggle evident in their expressions. Lydia's heart ached at the sight, a mix of longing and hurt washing over her. Her family turned, their eyes widening in surprise as they saw her. Lydia felt a rush of emotions, a need for answers and closure. She took a deep breath, stepping forward to face them. Chayton stayed by her side, his silent support a comfort. Her family greeted her with a mix of relief and apprehension. They exchanged hesitant words, the distance between them both physical and emotional. Lydia felt the weight of their shared past, the decisions that had led to this moment. She asked them why they had left her, why they had deemed her a burden. Her voice was steady, but laced with the pain of her experiences. Her family listened, their expressions a mix of guilt and regret. They explained their actions, citing fear and desperation as their reasons. Lydia listened, her heart heavy with the complexity of their situation. She understood their fear, the uncertainty that had driven them to leave her behind. But the hurt remained, a wound that had yet to heal. She struggled with her feelings, the desire to forgive clashing with the pain of betrayal. Chayton stood by her, his presence a reminder of the strength she had found in herself. Lydia knew she had changed, that the journey had made her stronger. She was no longer the same person who had been left in the storm. Her family expressed their sorrow, their voices filled with remorse. They offered to help her, to make amends for their actions. Lydia felt torn, the decision weighing heavily on her heart. She wanted to forgive, to find peace and move forward. After a moment of silence, Lydia spoke. She told them of her journey, of the challenges she had faced and the strength she had gained. She shared the lessons she had learned, the resilience she had found within herself. Her family listened, their expressions softening with understanding. Lydia realized that she had already begun to heal, that the journey had been a path to forgiveness. She saw her family's regret, their desire to make things right. It was not easy, but she chose to forgive, to let go of the pain that had weighed her down. Her family embraced her, their relief palpable. Lydia felt a sense of release, the burden of the past lifting from her shoulders. It was not a perfect resolution, but it was a step toward healing. She knew that forgiveness was a journey, one that would take time and effort. Chayton watched the reunion, his expression calm and knowing. Lydia turned to him, her gratitude for his presence evident in her eyes. He had been a steady force in her life, guiding her through the darkest moments. Together, they had faced the challenges of the wilderness, and now they faced the challenges of the heart. As the day turned to evening, Lydia and her family shared stories of their journey. They spoke of the future, of the possibilities that lay ahead. Lydia felt a sense of hope, a belief that they could build a new life together. She thanked Chayton for his support, for the friendship that had grown between them. He nodded, acknowledging her words with a small smile. Lydia knew that their journey was not over, that there were still challenges to face. But she felt ready, her heart open to the possibilities of the future. As night fell, Lydia stood with Chayton, looking out over the settlement. The stars twinkled above, a reminder of the vastness of the world. Lydia felt a sense of peace, a quiet confidence in the path she had chosen. She knew that she was where she belonged, surrounded by those she loved and ready to face whatever lay ahead. In the days following Lydia's reunion with her family, she began to feel a sense of renewal. The settlement, though small, was a place of safety. It offered warmth and shelter, things she had longed for during her journey through the wilderness. Her family was eager to make amends, showing her kindness and support as she settled back into their lives. Lydia worked alongside them, helping with daily tasks and contributing to the community. She was grateful for their acceptance, for the chance to rebuild relationships that had been strained by past decisions. The settlement was not large, but its people were resilient, bound together by shared struggles and hopes. Chayton remained a constant presence by Lydia's side. The bond they had formed was strong, a testament to their shared experiences. He was welcomed by the settlement, his skills and knowledge respected by all. Lydia felt a deep sense of gratitude for his companionship, the friendship that had grown between them. As she settled into her new life, Lydia began to embrace the freedom and empowerment she had found. The journey had taught her much about herself, about her strength and resilience. She realized that she was capable of more than she had ever imagined, that she could face challenges with courage and determination. The settlement provided a sense of community, a place where Lydia could envision a future for herself and her unborn child. She felt a growing sense of belonging, a connection to the people and the land that surrounded her. It was a new beginning, a chance to build a life filled with hope and possibility. Lydia spent her days learning from the women of the settlement. They shared stories and skills, teaching her about survival and motherhood. They offered guidance and support, their wisdom a valuable resource. Lydia was grateful for their friendship, the camaraderie that had developed among them. She also continued to learn from Chayton, his knowledge of the land invaluable. He taught her to see the world through different eyes, to appreciate the beauty and simplicity of nature. Lydia found joy in these lessons, each one a reminder of the bond they shared. As time passed, Lydia felt more confident in her abilities. She was no longer the frightened woman who had been left behind in the storm. She had grown, her journey a testament to her strength and determination. Lydia felt proud of the person she had become, the mother she was preparing to be. The bond between Lydia and Chayton deepened with each passing day. They shared their hopes and dreams, their fears and uncertainties. The connection between them was strong, a partnership built on mutual respect and admiration. Lydia found comfort in Chayton's presence, his quiet strength a source of reassurance. One evening, as the sun set over the settlement, Lydia and Chayton sat together, watching the colors change in the sky. It was a moment of peace, a chance to reflect on their journey and the new life they were building. Lydia felt a sense of contentment, a belief that she was where she was meant to be. She turned to Chayton, her heart full of gratitude. He had been her guide and her friend, a constant presence in her life. Lydia knew that their journey together was far from over, that there were still challenges to face. But she felt ready, confident in their ability to overcome whatever lay ahead. As night fell, Lydia thought of the future, of the life she hoped to create for her child. She wanted to provide a safe and loving home, a place where they could grow and thrive. Lydia felt a sense of purpose, a determination to make this dream a reality. The settlement was quiet, the stars twinkling above. Lydia felt a deep sense of peace, a connection to the world around her. She knew that she was not alone, that she had found a place where she belonged. With Chayton by her side, she was ready to embrace the future, to face whatever challenges came her way. In the days that followed, Lydia continued to build her new life. She worked hard, contributing to the community and forging strong relationships with those around her. The settlement became her home, a place of safety and belonging. Lydia felt a sense of fulfillment, a belief that she was exactly where she needed to be. As she prepared for the arrival of her child, Lydia felt a mix of excitement and anticipation. She knew that motherhood would bring new challenges, but she was ready to face them. The journey had taught her much, and she felt capable of handling whatever lay ahead. Lydia's bond with Chayton remained strong, their friendship a source of comfort and support. Together, they looked toward the future, united in their purpose and hope. Lydia felt grateful for the journey they had shared, for the strength they had found in each other. As the days turned to weeks, Lydia embraced her role as a mother, a partner, and a member of the community. She felt a sense of pride in her accomplishments, a belief in her ability to create a life filled with love and promise. The settlement had become a place of hope, a new beginning for Lydia and her family. She was grateful for the chance to start over, to build a future that was filled with possibility. Lydia knew that the journey had been difficult, but it had led her to a place of peace and fulfillment. As she stood with Chayton, watching the sun rise over the horizon, Lydia felt a sense of contentment. She knew that she was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, to embrace the future with courage and determination. Together, they would continue their journey, united by the bonds of love and friendship. Lydia's days in the settlement grew into a routine, each one filled with tasks and moments of quiet reflection. As her pregnancy advanced, she felt a mix of anticipation and concern. The arrival of her child was drawing near, and she wanted to be ready for the changes it would bring. She had learned much from the women of the settlement, their advice invaluable as she prepared for motherhood. Despite her growing confidence, Lydia sometimes felt the weight of her fears. The responsibility of caring for a child was daunting, and she worried about her ability to meet its needs. She knew she was strong, but the uncertainty of the future loomed large in her mind. Lydia wanted to provide a good life for her child, a life filled with love and security. Chayton sensed Lydia's concerns, his quiet presence a source of comfort. He offered reassurance, reminding her of the strength she had shown throughout their journey. Lydia appreciated his support, the way he listened without judgment and offered guidance when needed. His words were a balm to her anxious heart, a reminder that she was not alone. The settlement was a place of community, but it also presented its challenges. The winter was harsh and resources were limited. Lydia and the others worked hard to ensure everyone had enough to eat and stay warm. The sense of camaraderie was strong, but the daily struggle to survive was real. Lydia felt the pressure to contribute, to pull her weight despite her condition. Chayton continued to teach Lydia the skills she needed to navigate the wilderness. He showed her how to track animals, how to identify plants that could be used for food or medicine. Lydia valued these lessons, each one building her confidence and knowledge. She was growing more self-reliant, more capable of handling the challenges that came her way. One day, a storm swept through the settlement, its winds fierce and unrelenting. The community pulled together, securing their homes and helping one another weather the storm. Lydia felt a surge of gratitude for the people around her, their solidarity a source of strength in difficult times. It was a reminder of the importance of community, of the power of working together. After the storm passed, the settlement faced new challenges. The winds had damaged several structures, and repairs were needed. Lydia joined the effort, doing what she could to help. Her pregnancy limited her physical abilities, but she found ways to contribute. The sense of accomplishment was rewarding, a reminder of her resilience and determination. As the days passed, Lydia found herself contemplating the expectations of her new life. The impending arrival of her child brought both excitement and trepidation. She wondered what kind of mother she would be, what lessons she would impart to her child. Lydia wanted to raise a strong and compassionate person, someone who would face the world with courage and kindness. Chayton was a constant source of support, his presence grounding Lydia as she navigated her fears and insecurities. He spoke of his own experiences, sharing stories from his life and culture. His wisdom was a gift, a source of inspiration for Lydia as she prepared for the journey of parenthood. She appreciated his perspective, the way he saw the world with clarity and understanding. The bond between Lydia and Chayton continued to grow, their friendship deepening with each shared experience. They faced challenges together, supporting one another through the ups and downs. Lydia felt a sense of partnership, a belief that they could overcome any obstacle that came their way. One afternoon, while gathering firewood, Lydia stumbled upon a group of travelers passing through the area. They were seeking shelter, their journey made difficult by the harsh weather. Lydia welcomed them, offering what little the settlement could spare. The travelers were grateful, their gratitude a reminder of the importance of kindness and generosity. The encounter with the travelers renewed Lydia's sense of purpose. She wanted to teach her child the values of community and compassion, the importance of giving and receiving help. Lydia felt a deep resolve to set an example, to be a mother her child could look up to and learn from. As the days turned into weeks, Lydia faced new obstacles. The physical demands of pregnancy were challenging, her body growing tired as she neared the end of her term. Yet, she remained determined, her focus on the future and the life she was about to bring into the world. Chayton stayed close, offering his support and encouragement. He reminded Lydia of her strength, of the journey she had already traveled. His words were a source of comfort, a reminder that she was not alone in this journey. Lydia felt a profound sense of gratitude for his friendship, his unwavering belief in her abilities. The community rallied around Lydia, offering assistance and care as her due date approached. The women of the settlement shared their own stories of childbirth, their experiences both reassuring and enlightening. Lydia listened, absorbing their wisdom and preparing for the new life she was about to welcome. One evening, as the sun set behind the hills, Lydia sat with Chayton, reflecting on the journey they had shared. She felt a sense of peace, a belief that they were ready to face the future together. The challenges they had faced had brought them closer, their bond a testament to their resilience and strength. Lydia knew that the road ahead would not be easy, but she felt confident in her ability to navigate it. She was surrounded by a supportive community, by people who cared for her and her child. With Chayton by her side, she was ready to embrace the new life she was about to begin. As the stars appeared in the night sky, Lydia felt a sense of hope and anticipation. She knew that motherhood would bring both joy and challenges, but she was ready to face them with courage and determination. The journey had prepared her well, and she was eager to meet the future with open arms. Lydia felt the first signs of labor one crisp morning as the sun began to rise over the settlement. The realization filled her with both excitement and nervous anticipation. This was the moment she had been preparing for, the beginning of a new chapter in her life. She knew she was ready, but the unknown was still daunting. Word of Lydia's labor quickly spread through the settlement. The women gathered around her, offering support and guidance. They had been through this before, and their calm reassurances were a comfort to Lydia. She felt surrounded by a community that cared for her, ready to help her through this significant moment. Chayton stayed close, his presence a source of strength for Lydia. He spoke softly to her, his words encouraging and soothing. Lydia was grateful for his unwavering support, for the friendship that had grown between them. She knew she could rely on him, that he would be there every step of the way. As the labor progressed, Lydia focused on her breathing, the rhythm helping to calm her nerves. She remembered the stories and advice the women had shared with her, drawing strength from their experiences. This was a natural process, a journey many had taken before her. She reminded herself that she was capable, that she had the strength to see it through. The hours passed slowly, each one bringing Lydia closer to meeting her child. The pain was intense, but she pushed through, driven by a deep desire to hold her baby in her arms. The women of the settlement offered their support, their presence a comforting reminder that she was not alone. Chayton remained by Lydia's side, his quiet strength a constant reassurance. He held her hand, his touch grounding her in the moment. Lydia felt a profound sense of gratitude for his presence, for the bond they had formed. She knew that this journey had been made easier by his friendship and support. As the day turned to evening, Lydia knew the time was near. Her heart raced with anticipation, a mix of excitement and fear. The women around her offered encouragement, their voices steady and supportive. Lydia focused on their words, on the promise of the new life she was about to welcome. With one final effort, Lydia brought her child into the world. The moment was both overwhelming and euphoric, a rush of emotions flooding over her. The sound of her baby's first cry filled the room, a sweet and powerful reminder of the miracle of life. Lydia held her newborn close, tears of joy streaming down her face. The tiny life in her arms was a testament to the journey she had traveled, the strength she had found within herself. She felt a deep sense of love and protection, a promise to care for and nurture this new life. The women of the settlement gathered around, their smiles warm and welcoming. They offered congratulations and support, their presence a reminder of the community that Lydia had found. She felt a deep sense of belonging, a connection to the people who had become her family. Chayton stood nearby, his eyes filled with pride and admiration. Lydia looked at him, her heart full of gratitude. He had been her rock, her guide through the wilderness and beyond. She knew that their bond would only grow stronger as they faced the challenges of parenthood together. As night fell, Lydia rested with her newborn by her side. The settlement was quiet, the stars twinkling brightly in the clear sky. She felt a sense of peace, a belief that she was exactly where she needed to be. The journey had led her to this moment, to a future filled with love and possibility. In the days that followed, Lydia settled into her new role as a mother. The community continued to offer their support, helping her adjust to the demands of caring for a newborn. Lydia felt grateful for their kindness, for the friendships that had blossomed in the settlement. Chayton remained a constant presence, his care and dedication unwavering. He helped Lydia with the baby, sharing in the joys and challenges of parenthood. Lydia felt a deep sense of partnership, a belief that together they could provide a loving and supportive environment for their child. The settlement became a place of joy and celebration, the arrival of Lydia's baby a testament to hope and renewal. The community rallied around her, offering their assistance and guidance. Lydia felt a profound sense of gratitude, a belief that she was part of something greater than herself. As she watched her child grow, Lydia reflected on the journey that had brought her here. She felt a deep sense of accomplishment, a belief in her ability to overcome challenges and build a life filled with love and promise. The future was bright, filled with endless possibilities. Lydia knew that the road ahead would not always be easy, but she was ready to face it with courage and determination. She felt confident in her role as a mother, a partner, and a member of the community. Together with Chayton, she looked forward to the future, eager to embrace whatever challenges and adventures lay ahead. The stars shone brightly above, a reminder of the vastness of the world and the endless possibilities it held. Lydia felt a sense of contentment, a belief that she was where she was meant to be. With her child in her arms and Chayton by her side, she was ready to face the future with hope and determination. Life in the settlement settled into a comforting rhythm for Lydia and her newborn. The days were filled with caring for her child and contributing to the community. The sense of belonging Lydia felt grew stronger with each passing day. The people around her had become her extended family, offering support and friendship. The settlement was preparing for a celebration, an event that brought everyone together. It was a time to give thanks for the harvest and to look forward to the future. Lydia looked forward to it, seeing it as a chance to connect with others and share in the joy of the community. As the day of the celebration approached, the settlement buzzed with activity. People worked together to prepare food, decorate the common area, and arrange activities for everyone to enjoy. Lydia joined in, eager to contribute and be part of the festivities. Lydia found herself bonding with the other women as they worked. They shared stories and laughter, their camaraderie a source of joy. Lydia felt a deep sense of connection, a belief that she had found her place among them. The friendships she had formed were valuable, each one a testament to the power of community. Chayton was also involved in the preparations, his skills and leadership respected by all. He moved through the settlement with ease, offering help and guidance where needed. Lydia watched him with admiration, grateful for his presence in her life. His quiet strength and wisdom were a comfort, a reminder that she was not alone. On the day of the celebration, the settlement was filled with excitement. The air was crisp and clear, the sun shining brightly. People gathered in the common area, their faces filled with anticipation and happiness. Lydia felt a sense of joy, eager to share in the festivities with her new family. The celebration began with a series of rituals and ceremonies, each one honoring the land and the community. Lydia participated alongside the others, feeling a deep connection to the traditions and values of the settlement. It was a moment of reflection, a chance to give thanks for the blessings in her life. As the day progressed, there was music and dancing, laughter and games. Lydia watched as people came together, their spirits lifted by the joy of the occasion. She felt a sense of pride in the community, a belief that they were stronger together. The celebration was a testament to their resilience and unity, a reminder of all they had accomplished. Lydia's child was the center of attention, welcomed with open arms by the community. People gathered around, offering gifts and well wishes for the future. Lydia felt a deep sense of gratitude, a belief that her child would grow up surrounded by love and support. Chayton stayed close, sharing in Lydia's joy and pride. They watched the festivities unfold, their bond strengthened by the experiences they had shared. Lydia felt a profound sense of connection to him, a belief that their partnership would endure whatever challenges lay ahead. As the sun set, casting a warm glow over the settlement, Lydia felt a sense of peace. The celebration had been a success, a moment of joy that brought everyone closer together. She was grateful for the community, for the friendships and connections that had grown in this place. Lydia reflected on her journey, the path that had led her to this moment. She felt a deep sense of fulfillment, a belief that she had found her purpose. The challenges she had faced had made her stronger, taught her the value of resilience and hope. As the evening turned to night, the celebration continued under the stars. The community gathered around a large fire, sharing stories and songs. Lydia felt a sense of belonging, a connection to the people and the land that surrounded her. The celebration ended with a moment of reflection, a chance to look to the future with hope and determination. Lydia felt a deep sense of peace, a belief that she was exactly where she was meant to be. She knew that the journey was far from over, but she was ready to face whatever lay ahead. With her child in her arms and Chayton by her side, Lydia felt confident in her ability to create a life filled with love and promise. The celebration had renewed her sense of purpose, a reminder of the strength and resilience of the community she now called home. As the stars twinkled above, Lydia felt a sense of contentment, a belief in the power of love and acceptance. She was ready to embrace the future, to face whatever challenges and adventures lay ahead. Together with her community, she would continue to build a life filled with hope and possibility. In the days following the celebration, Lydia found herself reflecting on her relationship with Chayton. Their bond had grown strong during their journey, a steady presence in a world filled with uncertainty. Now, with the warmth of the community around them, Lydia felt ready to face the next chapter of their story. Lydia spent her days caring for her child and participating in community life. The settlement was a place of safety and connection, each day offering new opportunities for learning and growth. But as much as she loved the life she was building, Lydia knew there was an unspoken question between her and Chayton. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Lydia and Chayton sat together outside her family's small dwelling. The air was cool, but the sky was clear and filled with stars. Lydia felt a sense of peace, but also a stirring of emotions she could no longer ignore. Lydia looked at Chayton, her heart full of gratitude and unspoken feelings. She knew it was time to address the bond that had grown between them, to acknowledge the depth of their connection. Her journey had been one of growth and discovery, and she was ready to face her feelings head-on. Chayton seemed to sense her thoughts, his gaze steady and understanding. Lydia took a deep breath, gathering her courage. She spoke of their journey, of the challenges they had faced together. She expressed her gratitude for his friendship, for the support he had given her when she needed it most. As Lydia spoke, Chayton listened intently, his expression calm and open. He responded with words of his own, sharing his perspective on their shared journey. He spoke of the respect and admiration he had for her, of the strength he had seen in her during their travels. The conversation was a turning point, a moment of honesty and vulnerability. Lydia felt a weight lift from her shoulders, a sense of relief in acknowledging her feelings. She realized that she had been holding back, afraid of what opening her heart might mean. Chayton's words were reassuring, a reminder of the bond they shared. Lydia felt a deep sense of connection, a belief that their relationship was built on trust and mutual respect. She knew that whatever the future held, they would face it together. As the evening wore on, Lydia and Chayton continued to talk, sharing their hopes and dreams for the future. They spoke of the life they wanted to build, of the values they hoped to instill in Lydia's child. The conversation was filled with possibility, a sense of excitement for what lay ahead. Lydia felt a sense of clarity, a belief that she was exactly where she needed to be. The journey had been difficult, but it had led her to this moment, to a new beginning filled with promise. She was ready to embrace the future, to face whatever challenges and adventures lay ahead. The night was quiet, the stars twinkling above like distant beacons of hope. Lydia felt a deep sense of peace, a belief in the power of love and acceptance. She knew that her journey was far from over, but she was ready to face it with courage and determination. As they sat together in the cool night air, Lydia felt a sense of contentment. She knew that she had found something special with Chaitin, a relationship built on shared experiences and understanding. Together, they would continue to build a life filled with joy and possibility. The settlement was a place of safety and community, a home where Lydia could raise her child surrounded by love and support. She felt grateful for the connections she had made, for the friendships that had blossomed in this place. It was a reminder of the power of community, of the strength that came from working together. Lydia knew that the road ahead would not always be easy, but she was ready to face it with an open heart. She felt confident in her ability to create a life filled with love and promise, a life where her child could grow and thrive. As the stars shone brightly above, Lydia felt a sense of hope and determination. She was ready to embrace the future, to face whatever challenges and adventures lay ahead. With Chaitin by her side, she knew that anything was possible. Together, they would continue their journey, united by the bonds of love and friendship. Lydia awoke one morning to the gentle light of dawn filtering through her window. The air felt different, charged with a quiet anticipation. As she moved to get up, she felt a familiar twinge in her body, a reminder that her child was due any day now. The thought filled her with a mix of excitement and nervousness. She went about her morning routine, her mind focused on the tasks at hand. The settlement was already awake, people moving about with a purpose. Lydia felt a sense of calm, a belief that she was prepared for what lay ahead. The women of the community had been a constant source of support, offering advice and guidance as she neared the end of her pregnancy. As the morning wore on, Lydia felt the first strong signs of labor. Her heart skipped a beat with the realization that the moment she had been waiting for was finally here. She called out for help, her voice steady despite the growing intensity of the contractions. Word quickly spread through the settlement, and soon Lydia was surrounded by the women who had become her friends and mentors. They moved with practiced efficiency, preparing the space and offering words of encouragement. Lydia felt comforted by their presence, grateful for their support and care. Chaitin was by her side, his expression calm and reassuring. He held her hand, offering silent strength as she worked through the contractions. Lydia felt a deep sense of gratitude for his presence, for the bond they had formed. She knew that she could rely on him, that he would be with her every step of the way. The hours passed slowly, each one bringing Lydia closer to meeting her child. The pain was intense, but Lydia focused on her breathing, drawing strength from the people around her. She remembered the stories and advice the women had shared, using their wisdom to guide her through the process. As the afternoon turned to evening, Lydia knew the time was near. Her heart raced with anticipation, a mix of excitement and fear. The women around her offered encouragement, their voices steady and supportive. Lydia focused on their words, on the promise of the new life she was about to welcome. With one final effort, Lydia brought her child into the world. The moment was overwhelming, a rush of emotions flooding over her. The sound of her baby's first cry filled the room, a sweet and powerful reminder of the miracle of life. Lydia held her newborn close, tears of joy streaming down her face. The tiny life in her arms was a testament to the journey she had traveled, the strength she had found within herself. She felt a deep sense of love and protection, a promise to care for and nurture this new life. The women of the settlement gathered around, their smiles warm and welcoming. They offered congratulations and support, their presence a reminder of the community that Lydia had found. She felt a deep sense of belonging, a connection to the people who had become her family. Chayton stood nearby, his eyes filled with pride and admiration. Lydia looked at him, her heart full of gratitude. He had been her rock, her guide through the wilderness and beyond. She knew that their bond would only grow stronger as they faced the challenges of parenthood together. As night fell, Lydia rested with her newborn by her side. The settlement was quiet, the stars twinkling brightly in the clear sky. She felt a sense of peace, a belief that she was exactly where she needed to be. The journey had led her to this moment, to a future filled with love and possibility. In the days that followed, Lydia settled into her new role as a mother. The community continued to offer their support, helping her adjust to the demands of caring for a newborn. Lydia felt grateful for their kindness, for the friendships that had blossomed in the settlement. Chayton remained a constant presence, his care and dedication unwavering. He helped Lydia with the baby, sharing in the joys and challenges of parenthood. Lydia felt a deep sense of partnership, a belief that together they could provide a loving and supportive environment for their child. The settlement became a place of joy and celebration, the arrival of Lydia's baby a testament to hope and renewal. The community rallied around her, offering their assistance and guidance. Lydia felt a profound sense of gratitude, a belief that she was part of something greater than herself. As she watched her child grow, Lydia reflected on the journey that had brought her here. She felt a deep sense of accomplishment, a belief in her ability to overcome challenges and build a life filled with love and promise. The future was bright, filled with endless possibilities. Lydia knew that the road ahead would not always be easy, but she was ready to face it with courage and determination. She felt confident in her role as a mother, a partner, and a member of the community. Together with Chayton, she looked forward to the future, eager to embrace whatever challenges and adventures lay ahead. The stars shone brightly above, a reminder of the vastness of the world and the endless possibilities it held. Lydia felt a sense of contentment, a belief that she was where she was meant to be. With her child in her arms and Chayton by her side, she was ready to face the future with hope and determination. Lydia's life had transformed with the arrival of her child. Each day brought new challenges and joys as she adjusted to her role as a mother. The settlement, with its supportive community, was a place of safety and belonging. Lydia felt grateful for this new chapter, one filled with love and promise. The early days of motherhood were demanding. Lydia learned to balance sleepless nights with the responsibilities of the day. Her child needed her constantly, and she rose to the task with determination. The women of the settlement were there to help, offering advice and lending a hand when needed. Their support was invaluable, a reminder that she was not alone. Chayton was an unwavering partner, sharing in the duties of caring for their child. He soothed the baby with gentle words and a calm demeanor. Lydia admired his patience and dedication, traits that complemented her own. Together, they formed a strong team, each taking on the challenges of parenthood with grace and resilience. As the days turned into weeks, Lydia found herself growing more confident. She learned to understand her child's needs, to respond with care and love. The bond between them deepened, each moment together a testament to the journey they had shared. Lydia felt a profound sense of love for her child, a feeling unlike anything she had known before. The community continued to be a source of strength for Lydia. The people of the settlement embraced her child, welcoming the new life with open arms. There were celebrations and gatherings, each one a reminder of the importance of community. Lydia felt a deep connection to those around her, a belief that they were all part of something greater. As she navigated the challenges of motherhood, Lydia found strength in her past experiences. The journey through the wilderness had taught her resilience and determination. She drew on these lessons as she faced the daily demands of caring for her child. Lydia knew that she was capable, that she could handle whatever came her way. Chayton remained a steadfast presence, his partnership with Lydia growing stronger each day. They supported each other through the sleepless nights and early mornings, their bond deepening with each shared experience. Lydia felt grateful for his presence, for the friendship and love that had grown between them. One afternoon, as they sat together watching their child sleep, Lydia reflected on all they had accomplished. The journey had been long and difficult, but it had led them to this moment. She felt a sense of pride in the life they were building, a belief in their ability to provide a loving and supportive environment for their child. Chaitan spoke softly, sharing his thoughts on the future. He expressed his hopes and dreams for their child, his words filled with love and optimism. Lydia listened, her heart full of gratitude for the man who had become her partner in all things. She knew that together, they could face whatever challenges lay ahead. As the sun set, painting the sky with hues of orange and pink, Lydia felt a deep sense of peace. The future was uncertain, but she felt ready to embrace it with courage and hope. Her child was a symbol of new beginnings, a reminder of the strength and resilience that had brought them here. The settlement was a place of safety and community, a home where Lydia could raise her child surrounded by love and support. She felt grateful for the connections she had made, for the friendships that had blossomed in this place. It was a reminder of the power of community, of the strength that came from working together. Lydia knew that the road ahead would not always be easy, but she was ready to face it with an open heart. She felt confident in her ability to create a life filled with love and promise, a life where her child could grow and thrive. As the stars appeared in the night sky, Lydia felt a sense of hope and determination. She was ready to embrace the future, to face whatever challenges and adventures lay ahead. With Chaitan by her side, she knew that anything was possible. Together, they would continue their journey, united by the bonds of love and friendship. The seasons began to change, marking the passage of time in the settlement. Lydia watched as the snow slowly melted, giving way to the first signs of spring. The air was still crisp, but there was a renewed sense of life and energy all around. Lydia felt it in her own heart, a growing excitement for the future she was building with her family. Her child was growing quickly, each day bringing new milestones and moments of joy. Lydia marveled at the small changes, the first smiles and curious glances. The bond between them grew stronger with each passing day, a deep connection that filled her with love and pride. Lydia and Chaitan settled into a comfortable routine, their roles as parents and partners intertwined. They worked together seamlessly, each supporting the other in the daily tasks of caring for their child and contributing to the community. Lydia felt grateful for the balance they had found, for the partnership that had strengthened their relationship. The settlement was alive with activity as the weather warmed. People prepared the land for planting, eager to make the most of the growing season. Lydia joined in, her efforts a small part of the larger community's work. She felt a sense of accomplishment, knowing that she was contributing to the well-being of her family and neighbors. As the days grew longer, Lydia reflected on the journey that had brought her here. The path had been filled with challenges, but it had also been a time of growth and discovery. She felt proud of the person she had become, of the strength and resilience she had found within herself. Lydia's thoughts often turned to the future, to the life she hoped to create for her child. She wanted to provide a safe and nurturing environment, a place where her child could grow and thrive surrounded by love and support. Lydia felt confident in her ability to meet this goal, with Chaitan and the community by her side. Chaitan shared Lydia's vision for the future, his hopes and dreams aligned with hers. They often spoke of the values they wanted to instill in their child, the lessons they hoped to teach. Lydia felt a deep sense of connection to Chaitan, a belief that their partnership would endure whatever challenges lay ahead. As spring turned to summer, the settlement flourished. The land yielded its bounty, a testament to the hard work and dedication of the community. Lydia felt a deep sense of gratitude, a belief in the power of working together for the common good. She was proud to be part of such a supportive and resilient group. The community continued to be a source of strength for Lydia, offering friendship and support as she navigated the challenges of motherhood. The women of the settlement were always there to lend a hand or share advice, their camaraderie a source of joy and comfort. Lydia felt a deep connection to them, a belief that they were all part of something greater. As the summer days stretched on, Lydia found moments of peace and reflection. She would often sit with her child, watching the world around them come to life. Each day was a reminder of the beauty and possibility that lay ahead, a testament to the journey she had traveled. Lydia knew that the road ahead would not always be easy, but she felt ready to face it with courage and determination. She was confident in her ability to create a life filled with love and promise, a life where her child could grow and thrive. Chayton remained a constant presence, his support and love unwavering. Together, they faced the challenges and joys of parenthood, each day bringing them closer. Lydia felt grateful for their partnership, for the bond that had grown between them. She knew that whatever the future held, they would face it together. As the sun set on another day, Lydia felt a deep sense of peace. The journey had been long and difficult, but it had led her to this moment. She was surrounded by love and support, by a community that embraced her and her family. With her child in her arms and Chayton by her side, Lydia felt ready to embrace the future with hope and determination. The stars twinkled above, a reminder of the vastness of the world and the endless possibilities it held. Lydia felt a sense of contentment, a belief that she was where she was meant to be. Together with Chayton and her community, she would continue to build a life filled with love, joy, and promise. If you loved the story, like the video and subscribe.